Hello again and welcome to this video. We're going to do something slightly different this time when we're going to have a look at these two well wagons with a trailer load. They're from different manufacturers. The one on the left is from Roco and the one on the right is from Märklin. So we're going to have a look and see what the differences are between these two models and which one you should buy. So first of all, with the packaging, the Roco one comes in the typical Roco packaging. It's got a cardboard sleeve and a polystyrene tray. It lifts off quite easily and the model is securely inside. You can see that there's some extras here. It's got instructions and some parts you can add on, some transfers. The Märklin box is much more impressive than the Roco one. It's typical of Märklin's design. It's quite an effective way of presenting the model. This box has got a few bashes on it, but it's certainly a much more impressive thing to purchase than the Roco one. So first up is the Roco wagon. So this does look pretty good. It's got this nice trailer on the back. It's certainly very colourful. It is in Deutsche Bahn brown colour with some lettering down the side, which is very neatly printed. This model does come with a whole bunch of extras that you can add onto it, and I've done a full review of this wagon separately on YouTube, so I'll put the link to that in the description below. So next up is the Märklin model. This is a limited edition one for the Märklin magazine, as you can see on the side of the trailer. And it's finished in this nice blue colour with some yellow accents on it as well. So let's start off by looking at the trailers on these wagons. They're both meant to be HO scale, but you can see that there is a significant size difference between the Märklin one and the Roco one. The Märklin one is a triaxle trailer, the Roco one has only two axles, but they do look significantly different in terms of size. You can see that the Märklin one is quite a lot bigger than the Roco one, so it's a bit strange that it would be like that. Underneath you can see that there is also a length difference in these trailers, and that may be prototypical, but there's certainly some larger features on the Märklin one, like the landing gear here, even though the Roco one hangs down lower. You can also see here that the Roco one is made by them in Austria, whereas the Märklin one is made in Germany, but it is actually done by Herpa and not Märklin themselves. So the Märklin one, the top lifts off quite easily. There's not much detail to that though. There is some nice ridges on the roof, but the sides are quite plain. The trailer itself has a kind of moderate amount of detail and some painting on the side of the black here, but I wouldn't say it was particularly well done, and it's not very well detailed at all. And if you look at the Roco one, the top lifts off, it's a bit stiffer to get off. It has a bit more detail, a bit more convincing that it is a tarpaulin, certainly on the sides, but on the roof there's this weird flat section in the middle, which looks a bit odd. And the trailer has more detail on it. So for the trailers, the Roco one definitely, in my mind, is a better model. It has more detail on it, so I think the winner so far is the Roco trailer. Okay, so let's take a look at the wagons now. Now, one thing to note is that both of these wagons have additional parts to add on to it. The Roco one has a bag of extras here with railings and hand grips, and it also has this other bag of additional parts. Not quite sure what these parts are, but they're for this wagon anyway. And the Märklin one comes with a smaller bag of extras which you can fit onto it too. So I've not fitted those onto these wagons, so we'll need to bear that in mind when we look at them. Let's start off with the Roco one. So again, I've done a full review of this wagon. I'll put the link in the description below, but it's a very nice wagon. It's got some great printing down the side. It's made of metal, it's quite weighty, and it's got some nice detail on it, including the well. The fitting onto the trailer here is made of plastic, and it's an extra part that's been put on, and the buffers are plastic as well, as are the bogies underneath. But overall it's a very good detailed model. Looking at the Märklin one now, so there are some differences here. I think the most noticeable one is that it's actually a bit bigger than the Roco one, but it is meant to be the same kind of wagon. I don't know whether that's prototypical or not. It does have some railings in plastic already fitted to the model. The buffers are also plastic. It has an easier attachment to the trailer. It slides up and down quite easily. In the box there's a number of different fittings here, so it looks like you could fit different trailers onto this if you've got different ones. Again, this is made of metal apart from the extras that have been added, and the bogies are plastic as well. But one of the nice touches on here are the extra brake wheels and little details that are picked out in yellow. It also has some nice printing down the side as well. So comparing the two together, they're almost identical in length. At this end there are some differences around the cylinders down below the attachment to the trailer. The Märklin one has got printed details here, which the Roco one doesn't. And at the other end, the Roco one has some tanks here and the Märklin one doesn't. There's quite a noticeable spring here, which is to do with the cantilever couplings on this one, but that's not evident on the Märklin one. That's done a little bit better. So you can see that the Märklin one is held on with a screw, whereas the Roco one is held on with a stud. So this will be more secure on the Märklin one. I quite like that. These plastic ones can often break. But underneath the bed here, you can see that the Märklin one has some ridges which the Roco one doesn't. In terms of printing down the side, the Märklin one with its extra little yellow parts that have been picked out here, that's quite a nice detail that the Roco one is missing, but you could add that onto the Roco one just with a bit of paint. So it has very similar printing and numbering along the edges of the Wagons. So there's not a lot in it in terms of printing on the side. They're both very well done here. So which one should you buy? So this is a difficult question to answer because the Roco wagon I think isn't as good as the Märklin one. I like the Märklin's details of the extra yellow parts. It's got some really nice little bits and pieces on it. The way the bogies are attached is much better, as is the cantilever system on the couplings. So I think this is a more premium model. The Roco one, the wagon isn't as good as the Märklin one, but it does have a better load. The trailer in it, I think, is much better than the Märklin one, which lets it down quite significantly. This one as well, because it's limited edition and it's about the Märklin magazine, it has this logo on the side, which obviously isn't prototypical. They've just added that in as a promo model. That's a bit of a shame, but I guess if you can find this without that, it would be a very nice model to have. But both these wagons would make an interesting addition to your layout, especially if you're modelling modern image European freight traffic. So finally, I would say that if these two were the same price, I would probably go for the Märklin one because the wagon is a bit better quality. The trailer lets it down. I'd maybe swap it for something else. So I hope you've liked the review of these two wagons. If you have, please give this a thumbs up, and you can enjoy more videos like this by subscribing. I'll put these on the turntable so you can see all the way around, but for now, that's it for today, and I'll see you on the next video.